Hey everyone, Katie Noho's here with the First Coast Heroes team at Navy to Navy Homes, and I'm here with my really good friend.
Hi, I'm Maria Coutu, an attorney with Atlantic Coast Title Escrow.
And we're here to talk about title companies and the real estate transaction and basically how they're the referees behind every real estate transaction. So you're going to want to stick around, tune in. We're going to talk about portability, we're going to talk about capital gains tax, we're going to talk about if sellers have closing costs. So let's get started. Okay, so what is the title company's role in a real estate transaction?
So the title company kind of acts as the middle agent, is what I like to call the middle party, the monkey in the middle I've said before.
I like that.
They're kind of the person that handles the buyer, the seller, all the agents, and the lender. So they're the ones that obviously order title, issue title insurance. They're also the ones that work with the lender to get all the closing documents. They facilitate the closing, handle all the money, they pay everyone out, that kind of thing. Record the deed, handle the money, record the deed, record the mortgage, the legal stuff as well.
Okay,
so
pretty important.
Yeah, it's pretty important.
Pretty high level responsibility.
Yes,
I would say. Okay, so a lot of times we hear the word escrow, and I think a lot of people are wondering, like, what is escrow? It seems kind of like this vague term. Maybe you can kind of describe the term escrow for us.
Yeah, so escrow is essentially protected funds. So whenever you go under contract, you'll see what's called a binder deposit, and or your agent will tell you, you'll have to bring the binder to the title company to deposit into the escrow account. Mm-hmm. And what the escrow account is essentially a neutral, protected account. Mm-hmm. So the buyer feels safe and the seller feels safe that this neutral party is holding these funds, so that as the contract progresses, if money has to go one way or another, the third party is the one handling it. Mm-hmm. And the third party has no dog in the fight, we'll say. Mm-hmm. They're just holding the funds in the protected escrow account.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I try to explain that when somebody's trying to put in a contract and they're buying a house, like, well, where is my money going exactly? Mm-hmm. And I try to explain it's neutral, disinterested, they're not going to take it.
Exactly.
So it's just protected.
Yes, they're very protected, and obviously the state of Florida completely regulates those accounts as well. Uh-huh. So it's another added layer. And then our company specifically, me and my partner are both attorneys, so ours is regulated by the state of Florida and by the Florida Bar. Oh, wow. So it's protected
Double
funds.
Protection there.
Yes. Okay. So your money is safe.
Good. Okay. Can you explain to us what title is?
Title is your legal right to your property. It's essentially, the legal term is a bundle of sticks, as in you own this bundle of sticks that is land. Yeah. And that is what title is. It's your exclusive right to your property.
Okay. Makes sense. I like that. Bundle of sticks. Okay, what's the difference between a lender's title insurance and an owner's title insurance policy?
So the difference is exactly in the title. So the lender requests a lender policy just to protect their interest. Mm-hmm. To double up on the owner's title policy. Similar to how you have the escrow accounts with the lender, and they want to protect the home with the homeowner's insurance and pay the taxes. It's the same with their lender's policy. They want to make sure that nobody can ever come and take away the house from them, because they're the one giving the money, putting the money up for the mortgage, that kind of thing. So that's why they have their own policy, so that if any issues come, they can make sure that they're insured up into the value of the mortgage that they've given you. Okay. So and then for the owners, same thing.
So are they both required?
Lenders do require them, and owners, owners is optional. Definitely highly suggest getting it.
Right, like a home inspection.
Yes, so we have this thing called a simultaneous issue rate, and what that means is that whenever you get both policies at once, the second policy, that loan policy, is only $25. Oh. So it's significantly different, and that's why you'll see the breakdown on closing statements. There'll be a couple different fees for title, and it's a much lower one when it says lender, and that's because of that simultaneous issue rate.
Okay. So who pays for which one?
So the seller is going to pay to give the new owner the owner's title policy, and then the buyers pay for that loan policy that their lender requires.
Okay. So got it. Okay, next question. We know that buyers have closing costs, yes. But do sellers have closing costs as well?
They do, yes. So they have to pay in our county, and then in the majority of the surrounding counties, the seller pays title. So what that means is that they typically pay for the closing fee, they pay for the title search fee, they pay for that owner's title policy, they have to typically pay real estate commissions, they have to pay an estoppel fee, and what that is that's a legal letter that we get from the homeowner association that tells us that everything is free and clear for us to transfer the property, as in the current seller doesn't owe them any money, there's no liens on the property from the HOA, and that usually can cost between $150 and $250. So that's a good little estimate for you on that one. And then you have to pay for the documentary stamps, and what that is that's the tax that Duval County applies for the sale of the property to transfer the deed from your name to the new buyer's name.
Okay. So the estoppel letter, I just want to go back because I think that's really interesting. So if I'm trying to sell my house and my lawn is dead and the HOA has given me a violation, I can't really sell my house and transfer it until that's been cleared or the fine paid, right?
Yeah, so a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to maybe you know what I mean? Like they're going to forget about it. No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, legally, we have to get a letter from them stating that it's free and clear for us to transfer the property.
Yeah.
So if you have a violation on it, I legally have to collect it at closing and pay that.
Yeah.
So definitely try and before you list your house, square away with your HOA.
Yeah.
Or just know it'll be coming out of your closing proceeds.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. So and I think it's good. It protects buyers because you're going into a house and you're not really sure what's going on. All of a sudden, like, wait, what? I have this violation? I didn't know about it.
Yes, and that does happen a lot. And usually we get them a couple of weeks before closing. So not always, if there's ever anything that's out of the ordinary, I always like to let people know so that they can maybe go and fix it, correct it, that kind of thing. Most HOAs are pretty good about that. So if you can go pick the weeds or mow the lawn or paint the one door or something like that, they let you do that.
Power wash the sidewalk.
Yes.
That's so funny.
That's a common one.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so my next question is about the owner's title policy. Is there a rebate if the seller is selling their home within 3 years? What is all that about?
Yeah, so the state of Florida has that. It's called the reissue rate. And what that is you have to have owned or bought the house in the last 3 years, and you have to have a copy of that policy. So you have to be able to give it to me because I have to give it to my underwriter to submit it. And the reason they give that discount is because they look at it as the risk is way lowered. So that's why they lower the rate, because obviously nothing has happened in the last 3 years. So the risk is lowered.
Okay.
So, and it can save up to 40% on the policy. So it's a pretty big discount.
Right.
So that's why it's super important whenever you buy your house to save your paperwork.
Right.
Because the title company is going to send you a copy of that recorded deed and your owner's title policy, and you want to save that because that piece of paper can save you money. But also, if you do lose it, just try and remember where you closed at, and you can call them and they should be able to get you a copy of it.
Okay. Do they hold files on
Yes.
record for
Yes. You have to hold files for 7 years. Yeah.
7 years?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you can always call.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
lost that.
But it makes it a lot quicker if you have it.
Yeah.
But definitely you have to be able to physically produce that though.
Okay. And what's really cool about the title company here is that y'all give like a really cool package of paperwork at the end of closing. So
Yes.
it's like, here's everything that you need. I think the survey too is another big one. That you
Yeah,
have
and
to
that's
save.
one of the seller closing costs we missed is the survey.
Yeah.
And so definitely make sure you keep that. We need the original. It has to have that seal on it. And hopefully if nothing's been done, but if stuff has been done, we'll have to order a new one. And that price can range from between $200 and $500 just depending on the property. But definitely keep that paperwork, and that's always one that people tend to forget. Like, I haven't seen that since the closing table.
Yeah.
It's like, well, go back to where you set things after the closing table. It's
Well, I get
probably
it too
there.
because you're moving and you're like, okay, I just bought a house. I've got this whole furniture to like move in and out. I got to keep track of this important documentation. So.
Exactly.
But it's like, please just keep it.
Yes.
Since we are talking about the survey, so maybe you can describe briefly like what's on a survey and like what would maybe what are some things that an owner does to their property that would require them to get a new survey when they sell their house.
Basically, if you do anything that changes lot lines, anything that affixes to the property, as in if you put a fence in, we have to get a new one, just because that's obviously it's going to be attached to your property. If you add anything onto the house physically at all, if something is touching the house and it's been added, then you have to get a new one. But other than that, then usually they're pretty good, unless there's been like a new easement, that kind of thing, because a lot of HOAs, they'll remap or they'll put in new utilities and that kind of thing, so we'll need that kind of stuff.
So if you like extend your patio with pavers.
Yes, you'd have to get one.
Okay.
Because you have to get a permit for that. So the permit will pop and that's how we'll know. So it's definitely something. It's a case-by-case basis. So whenever you're listing your house, definitely share it with your real estate agent as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And you can kind of go over it with them, and then you can know, because you can look at it and be like, oh, well, this little deck's not back there. And sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, it was there, but no.
And it's like, I hope you have a permit for this too.
Yeah, so.
A lot of homeowner specials like, oh, I can just put some papers out.
Yeah, exactly.
So that has to be permitted.
Yes, usually.
Good to know.
Depends on how big the square footage is, but yes.
Yeah, okay. It's just safe to do it
Always
right.
do it that way, yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to move on to capital gains tax. So do sellers have to pay capital gains tax when selling their primary residence?
Okay, so capital gains tax is a beast all on its own. So I always like to tell anyone that if they are selling their home within 2 years of buying it, definitely consult an accountant.
Okay.
Because they can help them figure out a way to make sure they don't have to pay.
I feel like that's an umbrella statement. Anything
Yes.
about taxes,
Yes.
consult an accountant. I think
Yes.
we're both saying that.
100%. I'm definitely not an expert in it. But I will say if it's basically if you're married, you will not be taxed if you're making under $500,000. But if you are single, if you're making under $250,000, then you will not be taxed.
Mm-hmm.
So the majority of Duval County pretty much falls in that.
Mm-hmm.
But if for some reason it's within those 2 years and you're making $600,000, then you will be taxed on that $100,000
above the
$500 if you're married, and then single it's to $250,000.
Yeah. So if you're single, go get married before you sign.
Yes. Or just as soon as you buy it, like let's say people are flipping or you get crazy orders and they're super fast. And there's also, I believe that there's some exceptions with military. So always if you're military and you get new orders and you just bought the house, definitely check with everyone.
Just ask about exemptions
Everything,
or
yes.
Okay, some credits or whatever it could be.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, what is portability?
Okay.
Big one, I know.
Yes,
It's like the mammoth question. I know I'm going to be listening especially closely.
So portability it's a great thing. It's a little bit confusing. So the way that it works is the state of Florida gives you the right to be able to save some money on your taxes if you're moving from one homesteaded home to another.
Uh-huh.
So you have to be moving from one Florida home to another. So
in Florida.
In Florida, yeah. So that's one thing that a lot of our buyers and sellers here are military. So most people are living out of state or coming from out of state.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but if you go to Jackson, Pensacola.
Yeah, exactly. So the way that it works, and it differs the amount in every single county, but in Duval, the way that it works is that let's say you bought a home in 2010 for $200,000. You instantly homesteaded it. At that point, they go out and they assess the value of the home. So it's going to be capped at the $200,000, and then from that point on, the homestead exemption also limits them from increasing the value of your home by more than 3%.
With taxes.
Yeah, with taxes.
Property taxes.
So your home is still going to increase in value.
Yeah.
And so you're going to sell in 2018, and then at that point your home is worth $500,000, but you're only still getting taxed for, let's say, $275,000. So that difference in money you can then port to your new home.
Okay.
So if you're buying a $500,000 house, you apply for your homestead, that $225,000 you can apply at that point, and then they're only going to tax the $275,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and so then they can only increase by 3% every single year.
Wow.
And so it's just the one-time thing, and it has to be within 2 years. So if you're moving in 2018, you have to apply for the new homestead and apply for the portability within 2 years. So by 2020.
So if I, on my second house, apply for homestead, is that sufficient? Portability is automatic, or do I have to do an extra step?
So you do it at, when you apply for the homestead, it's another form.
Okay.
And then they check it. And this is all on the Duval County, or all of the county.
It can change county to county.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's all on the property appraiser's website. So you can get on there and you can see where it says market assessed value, and it'll say asset value. And it'll tell you exactly how much portability you have in your home.
Okay.
So like you can just go on there and check right now. You just search your name, search your address, and it'll tell you exactly.
So if I had to wrap up what portability is, it's pretty much just tax savings on your property taxes.
Tax savings on your property taxes when you're moving from one homestead to another within
Florida.
2 years. In Florida.
Within 2 years.
Yes.
Side note. Asterisk.
Yes.
Footnote.
Right. That's why it can be really confusing for people.
Right.
That's why it's not many people know about it or ask about it because it can be kind of confusing.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people might even buy a house, but maybe they get married, have kids, so they move in the same county, and they maybe rent that one out or sell it. They can take that portability over.
Yes, as long as it's homestead to homestead.
Homestead to homestead.
Yeah, so some people, they'll buy another house, they'll keep it as a rental. So you have to move it. It has to be your residence for that whole time. So it has to be your primary residence.
Because you can't have a property homestead without it being your primary residence,
yes.
Right? Okay. Another asterisk.
Yes, and you can add that on to people with the disability if they're adding onto their homestead, all that kind of stuff. It can be stacked. Everything can be stacked.
Okay.
So it's not just one or another.
So it's huge savings.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what is something that you wish just the common person knew about title companies and what title companies do?
Yeah, one thing that I wish people knew a lot of, and it still blows my mind, is that people have horrible experiences at closing, and I'm like, it should not be this way. It should be fun. It should. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of stress involved when it's a lot of money.
Weighty.
Yeah. But it should be not stressful. The people that you're closing with, you should know them. You should trust them. You should ask them questions. So that's the main thing. And also is review the fees. Ask them, what is this fee? What is this? What is this? What is this? This is your money. This is the biggest sale or purchase of your life to this point, most likely. So ask questions. Like, not every single title company is made the same or charges them the same amount. So definitely ask questions, and there are so many of us. So
you can really
shop
choose.
around. Yeah.
Well, we shop lenders, you know,
Exactly.
and shop rates and things like that. I think maybe because people just don't know, or they're like, well, can I choose? So really, who ultimately can choose? It's the person paying the fee.
So in Duval County and Clay County, Nassau, pretty much everywhere surrounding where we are now, the seller chooses.
So the seller can
because
choose.
they're the one paying.
Right.
Yeah.
They're footing the bill, so
yes.
you can choose. So yeah, that's something Eric and I try to do with our sellers. We try to say, like, hey, do you have a preference about where to close? Most people don't.
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
Exactly.
Not everybody knows attorneys, so we try to like give a couple options and they can choose from there. But it's just good to know. I hope more people see this video, and especially if you're selling your home, like, you don't have to just automatically go with who your realtor's saying or who your friend said. You can shop around.
Exactly, because I've looked at closing disclosures, those kind of breakdowns of numbers of other people, and I'm just like, wow, you should have asked this because, you didn't even have wires, like, you guys brought this, like, all these fees, like, these kind of things. You should just ask questions. Right. And also ask if there's an attorney that's going to be there, because to me, I think that it's very important as an attorney. I guess I'm just saying that.
Just saying.
But I think that I would want an attorney to draft my deed, make sure all the documents that are being signed, an attorney is witnessing them. Right. So to me, that's important, but might not be to everyone else, and just find out.
Right. So calling and asking questions is free.
Exactly.
Right. I think a lot of times people are like nervous about calling, like, is there a charge, or am I going to get charged for something? It's like, no, just call.
Not at all.
It's free. It's research, especially this day and age. Everyone wants to know.
Yeah, and there's so many around. Like, there's a reason. Like, definitely reach out and find the one that you like and go from there.
Right. And a plug for here, I think you serve some champagne here sometimes if you want, right?
Typically have some alcohol here.
So if it's already heavy, it's like, I just need a little bubbly, right?
Yeah, it's a very, very fun occasion to
Celebratory.
me anyway, and that's always been our thing, is that it needs to be fun. Like, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question is, if people are interested, where can people find more about your company?
You can give us a call. Our phone number is 904-372-4834, or you can check out our website. It's Atlantic Coast Title Escrow.com. That's pretty much the best way.
Well, thank you all for tuning in, and thank you so much for your time.
Yes,
we'll have some more information for you guys. Please share this video, tell your friends. Even if you're not the one selling, maybe you know somebody who could take advantage of portability or need to know a little bit more about property taxes. Please share the love.
Yes, and if you have any questions about everything I just said, I spoke kind of fast.
Yes,
just
call her, watch it again, and then call her.
Yes.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.